The November 18th, 2024 City of Friendswood Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting is now called to order. We will begin by receiving communications from the public. To comply with provisions of the Open Meetings Act, the Commission may not deliberate on subjects discussed under this agenda item. However, the Commission may direct such subjects be placed on a later regular Commission agenda for discussion and/or possible actions. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak? No? Okay. Next is our consent agenda. These items are considered routine or ministerial in nature and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless the Commissioner so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item A, consider approving the minutes of the Planning and Zoning regular meeting held on Thursday, October 24th, 2024. Item B, consider approving Friendswood Trail Section 3A through 4A final plat located near West Parkwood Avenue and Friendswood Trail and the Friendswood Trail subdivision, PUD 2016-19. Item C, consider approving Friendswood Trail Section 4B through 5 or 4B-5A final plat located near West Parkwood Avenue and Friendswood Trail and the Friendswood Trail subdivision, PUD 2016-19. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Rise. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Conrad. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay, next on the agenda are our action items. According to the Planning and Zoning Rules of Procedure, all action of the Commission shall be made by an affirmative vote of a simple majority of the Commissioners present at such Commission meetings. Item A, consider approval of the site plan for Hardball Academy to be located at 2907 West Parkwood Avenue. Aubrey, any additional information?
Yes, just a brief explanation for this project. This is going to be a one-story, 15,000 square foot building with a baseball field behind the building. It's a business that's currently in operation. They have locations in several other cities and communities, and they're looking to relocate and make this their main or only facility. So we're excited to have a business relocate to Friendswood. The property is located close to like Lundy Lane and 528. It does front 528, so it's subject to the community overlay district requirements. And if you remember, recently we approved the vacating of that 10-foot water line easement. That was in the Joyfield Park subdivision. That's the 2-lot subdivision that makes up this property. So that council did approve that, and that has been completed. There is, in your backup material, they did request a reduction in their parking. Their required parking would have been 105 parking spaces. They did submit a modification request to the city engineer with some justification as to why they thought they didn't need that many spaces. That request was approved, so it reduced their parking to 75 parking spaces. And that modification form was in your backup material.
Okay. I assume the applicant's not here. I do not see anybody, so. Next, we'll move to discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Anderson.
Everything was laid out well. Everything was laid out well. I just was curious about the frontage on 528. I know that we have several projects that have been approved lately. It looks like there's more and more traffic that's going to be out there. What's the position of the state as far as the traffic and speed limit through there? Any updates on that with the other projects that are going on, like the Georgetown subdivision, things like that?
Mainly TxDOT's regulation is the driveway, where they allow driveway cuts. So this particular property, they had to do a shared access easement across the property line because TxDOT will only give them one driveway. So that's kind of how they control the traffic on and off of 528, is limiting the driveways as much as possible. And then As far as, I mean, Georgetown, like residential subdivisions, you know, they do have 2 points of access, and that's for, you know, life safety, for emergency vehicles and stuff, and residents to be able to have a secondary or second point of access. But other than that, like, I mean, obviously, I mean, we have undeveloped property along the thoroughfares that's going to be developed, and we're just going to have to keep dealing with the traffic as it comes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner Bounds.
Can you tell me about the tree mitigation requirements?
Yes, so this project actually began the platting process prior to us changing the tree mitigation requirements. So they were actually grandfathered under the old requirements of the 1-for-1 mitigation rather than the new requirements. They did start working on the tree mitigation under the new requirements. This lot in particular is heavily wooded, and they probably, if they paid fees in lieu of putting the trees, probably would have ended up paying about $250,000 in mitigation. So that's going to be a tough one when it when it comes, you know, down to one that we actually have to enforce that on.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner Mann.
I had two questions. One, I just thought of as you were talking about the cuts, so the driveway cuts that come in, they have a shared entryway. So when the other portion on like Lundy Lane side, when that gets developed, there will only be that one entryway, and they're gonna have to.
So they'll have the shared driveway off of Parkwood. Lundy is a city street, so as long they can have
Oh, so
another
they could have them
driveway.
come in there, okay.
Yeah, they'll be able to get another driveway off of Lundy.
Okay,
most
that
likely.
makes sense. And then my second question was the detention area. I know, looking at it, the size of it, and discussion of is that sufficient for that lot, or is that just for the lot that they're not using on the Lundy Lane side?
I believe they were a little tight on their detention. I think are they using all of it for this one? Or did they do
They are using all of the pond, and they went through engineering a couple different times on it. I think it's a little more shallow now, and they added swales around this property to account for some more volume. The pond could be increased in size later on if that other track needs it. Worst case scenario, the other track's going to end up having to provide underground detention.
Okay.
So, and that's just gonna, it'll change the sales price basically.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Conrad.
So this is just the site for the property itself, for this new building, for this new project. Somehow I could not open this earlier. We have plenty of parking and all that available.
Yeah,
for this new building.
they're going to be they're proposing 75 parking spaces. Their building is 15,000 square feet, and then they're going to have a full size like baseball field back behind the buildting.
So that's going to be
so
the
it's all-
parking for all of the baseball and all that.
They think it is,
Sufficient.
yes.
Okay, because there's always so many issues with parking.
Mm-hmm.
in that.
Yes.
Okay, that was one of my questions.
Commissioner Rose. Welcome.
I want to piggyback on the parking, and maybe you answered this. I was having a computer issue a minute ago, and I might have missed it. But I know they submitted an alternative parking, and have we heard back from the city engineer on that? Or
He did approve it. I think I updated when I originally posted this agenda for last Thursday. I didn't have it, but yes, he did approve it.
okay, I didn't see it in there. So
Yes,
It is in there.
it's probably a user error on my.
it's fine.
Come back to Commissioner Mann. real
And
quick.
do we know, are they gonna have games there, or is this just, because if I could see the approval if it's the training center, but if they start having actual games there, that parking, we've all been to Renwick, or
Oh,
I've been to
yes.
Renwick, it gets tight. A lot of people show up, so
Yeah, no, it's just a training facility.
Okay.
They should not be having games there.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, Yeah, my biggest concern is with parking also, and I understand why it was signed off on to be reduced. But my real concern is what happens when this facility moves on or they change their overall purpose, right? I strongly believe they will not have enough parking if they actually start playing games there, as Commissioner Mann's mentioned. With that, I mean, for the facility, I do understand the parking. I just have concern for the future use of it.
Which I did get your email and I didn't get time to get back to you, but I did look it up. So for the 15,000 square feet, so if they were to convert that to retail, they would be required to have 60 spaces, so they would meet that. If they went to general business, they would need 57. They would meet that. If they did medical, it'd be 67.5. The only thing, and I think it would be a stretch if they went to food service, they would be short on food service, but I mean, they don't have a grease trap or anything like that. So
Well, I think I'll speak for Commissioner Mann also, but I think our concern is more if they actually start hosting games or other type of sports activities there,
yeah,
which then the park can be pretty tight.
yeah.
Any other comments?
No.
Yes, go ahead.
The layout of the building, there's no egress out the back at all? Is that, to me, that would be an issue? I mean, I can see it on all three sides, but the back does not seem to have an egress to it. And I'm sure the engineers have approved it, but I know the engineers have approved it, but that seems a little, I'd be weary of that.
Well, Fire Marshal did review the building plans and approve them, so I'm sure they're very strict on egress and all that. So, and it may be because of the way the cages are laid out on the inside. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I can assure you that Fire Marshal will be on top of that.
Any other comments? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Rose, second.
Second.
Commissioner Mann. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Got ahead of myself. Item B, consider approving the preliminary plat of Laurel Park, Friendswood 3, located at 214 South Friendswood Drive and being a tract of land containing 1.9850 acres, situated in Lot 3, Block 2 of Friendswood subdivision. A subdivision in Galveston County, Texas, according to the map or plat thereof, recorded in volume 238, page 14 in the official public records of real property in Galveston County, Texas. Being all of a called 1.7947 acre tract of land as conveyed to the Laurel Park Friendswood 3 Limited by deed recorded in Galveston County Clerk's file number 2021056-103 and a called 8291.50 square foot tract of land as conveyed to Laurel Park Friendswood 3 Limited by deed recorded in Galveston County Clerk's file number 2021056-104 in Friendswood, Galveston County, Texas. Aubrey, any additional information?
Yes, so this is just a single lot commercial subdivision. The property is zoned downtown district. The lot itself meets the regulations of that district. I am recommending approving with conditions on this plat, which will require it to come back to you all. There was just a few comments regarding there's a water line running across the front and down the side of the property. We just needed to verify the actual location of that water line to make sure it's in the right of way and we don't need easements for it. And that was that, and the sidewalk easement was not addressed clearly. Like I said, I'm recommending approving with conditions. So once they resubmit, which they resubmitted today at like almost 1 o'clock, but it needs to go through staff review. So most likely it'll be back on your agenda for December 12th.
Okay. Would the applicant like to speak?
have anything to add that what Aubrey did, but this is kind of a
I think go
cleanup
ahead and
procedure.
introduce yourself.
Oh, Brett Banfield, representing Laurel Park 3. So this is kind of a cleanup plat. We purchased the property about 3 years ago, and Aubrey's been on me to get this done, so we're getting it done. So technically, we own out into the middle of Friendswood Drive, so we need to get that cleaned up. So I wish I could put a toll booth out there, but Aubrey wouldn't let me, so we got to replat. So thanks.
Okay. You're welcome to stand in case anybody has any questions.
Sure.
Or okay, we'll move to discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Rice this time.
Well, they resubmitted with some of the changes, but we think not all the changes.
Yeah, yes. Like I said, it needs to go through like Public Works and Engineering, just for confirmation, so.
Commissioner Conrad.
Just waiting on the answers to all those questions.
Commissioner Mann.
No comments.
Commissioner Bounds.
No, sir.
Commissioner Anderson.
No comments from me.
Okay. And like you said, this is just mainly a cleanup item, right?
Yeah, the plat itself it's an existing lot, there's an existing building, but their deeds historically they keep deeding the property in the right-of-way to each property owner, so once this is cleared up, it'll create a better legal description for that property.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve with conditions.
Okay, Commissioner Rice, do we have a second?
Second, with conditions.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion passes 5 to 1. Okay, next on our agenda is communications, and we will start with item A. The next Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting has been scheduled for Thursday, December 12th, 2024. We will also be hosting our annual retreat on December 5th at 6 p.m. Item B, the October 2024 DRC report is in your backup material. Aubrey, is there anything off of there of interest?
I don't think so. Actually, so one of the DRCs was, it's a property in our downtown district. That's a pretty significant project that'll be coming. It's one of 3 that builder has in the works.
Okay.
And they submitted another one of them today. So exciting things moving forward in the downtown district. The other 2, there's a lot of interest in the lots down on Lundy Lane, just the big residential lots. So.
Okay. Thank you. And next, City Council updates from our liaison council member, Councilmember Hanks.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
So at our last city council meeting, we did approve the water line abatement or abandonment that you all had recommended, Aubrey mentioned earlier. We also had our first TERS meeting on TERS 1 about the financial arrangements and the assessments and public hearing. And so we're moving along with that. And that's going very nicely. So Karen can answer any questions about that. But it's moving along and everything is in good shape, I believe. That's what we did that y'all had some stake in. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Trish.
I'm much more succinct than Joe. I told him, you can give this if you want, this report. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move to our commissioners. Commissioner Anderson, any final comments?
Just want to thank team for putting the packet together. It's a lot of good information. I just need to make sure my eyes are a little bit better so I can see the small print.
Commissioner Bounds.
No, the ditto on that. Thank you for all the support staff.
Commissioner Mann.
Just happy to be here. Thank you.
Commissioner Conrad.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rose.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
I'll echo that. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for everybody for being here. And next we'll move on. Aubrey, anything else?
No, sir.
Becky? Karen? Okay. With that, thank you everyone for attending this evening, and the November 18th, 2024 Planning and Zoning regular meeting is now adjourned.